Now, in this first part, I'd like to ask you some questions about yourself. Who do you spend the most time texting and why?
With my best friend. We have many things to talk, and I think send text message can help me to have more time to think about what I want to talk to her.
When do you think you'll next send a text message and why?
I'll send a text message to my best friend to tell her that I did this test very well.
Sometimes prefer to make a telephone call instead of send a text message.
I'll make telephone calls when I have to make a quick conversation to someone like my mother or my friend in my university, to tell something really quick and important.
Okay. Now I'm going to give you a topic and I'd like you to talk about it for 1 or 2 minutes. Before you talk, you'll have 1 minute to think about what you're going to say. You can make some notes if you wish. Do you understand?
Okay.
Describe a journey by car, plane, boat that you remember well. We've been talking about travel.
Okay.
And I'd like to continue to discuss with you 1 or 2 more general questions related to this. First of all, let's consider reasons for daily travel.
Yeah.
Why do people need to travel every day?
I suppose the main reason is that to go to work, classes, or wherever they need to go.
What problems can people have when they are on a daily journey? For example, to work or to school, and why?
I suppose one of the most common one would be traffic jams. Many people travel at the same time at peak hours, and or maybe they travel by bus but they miss them and arrive at work a little late, and of course they could be involved in a traffic accident, especially when they're driving, and it can cause many problems.
Which part of your country do most people live in?
Nowadays, almost Vietnamese people choose to live in urban area, which are the cities has developed economic, like Hanoi or Ho Chi Minh City. Besides that, there are many people who love the peaceful life, peaceful atmosphere, and they choose the countryside. Like my grandparents, have the house in Hanoi, but they still choose to live in the countryside, especially when they get older.
How easy is it to travel around your country?
So I think it's almost same like all the other countries. And you know that there are many motorbikes in Vietnam, right? So there are many people choose to drive motorbike to travel around Vietnam. Besides that, there are many people choose to drive car, or you can go by coach, by train. And one more simple way is taking an airplane. It's simple, but it's also not cheap. When you have a limited time, I think it's a good way for you to choose to travel to a different area in Vietnam.
The next part, I will give you a topic card. You will need to talk about the topic for between 1 and 2 minutes. You have 1 minute to think about what you are going to say. You can make some notes if you wish. Do you understand?
Yeah, I see. I understand. She was imprisoned when she was only about 16 years old, and was executed when she was only about 18 or 19. She did fight, and she died for our countries. And I watched many movies. I watched a movie, and I heard about history about her, and I know that the topic today we want to talk about appearance. Yeah, nowadays the appearance is very important in this life, especially for the famous people. Many people would like to choose a girl who has a nice appearance, maybe. But for me, she's also has a really, I mean, the beauty is very important, right? And she has a really nice, beautiful soul.
What are the good things about being famous?
The good things for being famous, I think firstly is about money. Most people want to be rich, want to have much money, and well, when we are famous, we will have kind of a little bit higher life quality. And when we are on the streets, there are many people who will recognize us.
My purpose to do the exam is going to make my dream come true. This is come to United States, especially New York.
Why do you want to go to New York? Next, I will give you a topic card. You will have to talk about the topic for 1 to 2 minutes. You have 1 minute to think about what you're going to say. You can make some notes if you wish.
I want to talk about the one who makes me happy.
What do you think makes people happy in today's society?
What people happy?
What?
We've been talking about a competition, and now I'd like to discuss some more questions related to this. Why do you think that some school teachers use competitions in their classrooms? Do you think that giving prizes to students is a good thing?
Do you enjoy traveling?
Yeah, I love traveling. Last year I visited foreign countries, and yeah, it really memorable experience for me.
What countries did you visit?
Oh, I visited Italy, um, China, Korea. Um,
And what was your favorite country?
my favorite country is Australia. Right from when I was student at high school, I always dream of traveling to Australia to study. Now I'm trying to get a scholarship to study master in Australia.
You will have to talk about the topic on the card for between 1 and 2 minutes. You have 1 minute to think about what you are going to say.
And you want to discover the thing inside, but also looking into her eyes make me feel peaceful and warm.
How important do you think spending time together is for the relationship between parents and their children?
I think it's very important for children and parents to spend time together. It helps enhance the love between members in the family, and also help their parents to teach their children outside the time they study at school.
Have relationships between parents and children changed in recent years?
In recent years, there is so many changes in the relationships between the parents and children. The children are more independent from their parents. Personally, in regard of the children, they are busy also. They have to attend too many classes after school, too many extra activities. Well, and I think the third reason for this trend is that both parents and children nowadays pay more attention to technological things like smartphone, TV, or personal laptop other than their family members.
Can you tell me your full name, please?
My name is Tu Hương.
To whom? I see your identification, please. Now, in this first part, I'd like to ask you some questions about yourself. Which other countries have you visited?
Well, I have visited some Southeast Asia countries like Thailand, Singapore, Philippines, and Malaysia.
Are there any countries you would like to visit and why?
Korea. I would like to visit Korea. Firstly, maybe because of Korean movies. Nowadays, many people in Vietnam watch Korean movies. And the second one is I can speak a little bit Korean, and I have many Korean friends, and sometimes they send me nice pictures, and they told me many things about Korea, so I would like to be there someday to see it. The last one is a private reason. I really want to be there someday, so I think I will be there when I can make the visa.
Now I'm going to give you a topic, and I'd like you to speak about it for 1 to 2 minutes. You have 1 minute to prepare notes if you wish.
About a job that I have done before is about 10 years ago, I think, more than 10 years when I was a student. I was a private tutor. A part-time job that many students choose to do because it helped me to earn money. And I also can improve my skills, my knowledge. At that time, I taught English for kids and also taught English for adults who just start to study English. And the other one is I taught Vietnamese for foreigners like you. The foreigners, they said that I have natural method to teach, and years I could earn money and I could buy my first motorbike in my life from that job.
So we've been talking about jobs. I'd like to discuss with you a bit more about work and jobs that young people might do. First question I'd like to ask you is, what advantages are there to young people working?
There are some advantages of young people is about their energy. They are young, of course, they have much energy, are enthusiastic to when they do their first job. The second one is about time. They have much time, so they can try anything they think about, and if they fail, they can stand up and restart again.
What types of part-time work do young people do?
There are many kinds of part-time work. Many people choose to work in some shops, in some department store. They sell clothes, they sell cosmetic, they sell jewelry, many kinds of job like that. The second one is they do the work in some coffee shop, or some bar, like a bartender, like waiter or waitress.
Now, in this part, I'd like to ask you some questions about yourself, okay? I'd like to talk to you about giving gifts. When do people give gifts or presents in your country?
I think in my country, people usually give on a birthday, their wedding ceremony, on their special day. Yeah.
Do you enjoy looking for gifts for people? Why not?
Yeah, I enjoy it because I want to make people I love happy because I care about them and I want to show them how important they are to me. Yeah, and that's why I love to do that thing.
Now I'm going to give you a topic and I'd like you to talk for 1 to 2 minutes. Okay. I'll give you a minute to prepare and make notes if you wish. Do you understand?
Yeah. One of the most exciting journey that I've made, it was few months ago while our visit to a friend's hometown, and this plan was proposed by my best friend, and 4 of our friends agreed to do so. It was a little bit dangerous to go into the forest, and we have heard many different and scary stories from the local people. But we decided to do so. And then our main attraction was an abandoned house in the forest. And I think that we thought that the guardians of my friends won't permit us to do so, and we planned not to let them know about it. And on a Thursday morning, we left the friend's house and bought necessary ingredients, vegetables and fruits, and the thing that would be required to do the picnic.
We've been talking about new things and new experiences, and I'd like to have a discussion with you now and to ask you some discussion questions. Let's consider first of all why you think some people enjoy or like doing new things.
I think that's a part of the human nature. If we have never tried doing new things, we would never made any progress throughout history. Personally, I think that because doing new things is something very interesting. We can meet new people, know new places, and learn something. And I think that people don't usually enjoy doing new things, but it's good if we do something we've never done before.
What problems can people have when they try new activities for the first time?
I think they feel nervous and have problems doing new things. Some things need a little bit skilled and practice to do well.
In this first part, I'd like to ask you some questions. Did you go to high school near to where you live?
Yeah, I went to high school about 10 years ago in my hometown. It's Bắc Giang. It's a small town near Hanoi, 60 kilometers from here. When I finished my high school, I came to Hanoi to start my college.
What did you like about your high school?
High school, that's the sweetest time in my life because I have friends. I have so many good friends there. I don't have to worry about anything in high school. I just try my best to learn and graduation my high school.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Now I'm going to give you a topic and I'd like you to talk about it for 1 to 2 minutes. Before you talk, you have 1 minute to think about what you're going to say. You can make some notes if you wish. Do you understand? I'd like you to describe something you don't have now but would really like to own in the future.
Yeah. I want to own a house for my family in the future because you know that my biggest target in my whole life is just have a happy family. To get a happy family, I have to collect so many things. Just enough money to don't worry about anything. To have a happy life. Maybe I will buy a house. In my dream, I build a house in my riverside with my wife, my children.
Now, we've been talking about something you don't own but would like to own, and I'd like to ask you some more general questions about this. Could you tell me, in your country, what type of things do you think people most want to own?
I think now the most thing that people want to own, that's high-tech productions, like a smartphone, like a camera, like a computers, some kind of high technology.
Why do you think high technology products have such popularity?
Because now is the age of high-tech production. You can see that so many people all over the world get crazy about this. They are looking forward to the high-tech production day by day.
Now I'm going to ask you some general questions about yourself. Tell me about the use of bicycles in your country.
About the use of bicycle in my country, I would like to divide it to three groups.
How popular are bicycles in your country?
Honestly, I think they are not so popular. Some people use bicycle like exercise in the weekend, but it's quite difficult to see somebody use bicycle to travel. Now, I don't think that bicycle is a convenient transportation.
Now I'd like you to talk about a topic. You have 1 minute to take notes. Here's some paper and a pen. I'd like you to describe a well-known person from the world of sports or films that you would like to meet. Now I'm just going to ask you some more general questions about role models in the sports world. Do sportsmen and women make good role models for young people? Can you tell me, what kind of things do you do in your free time?
Like you know, I'm art director of a fashionable brand. So in my free time, I just do my work. Because the free time inspired me, make me more creative and make me do more product for my boss.
Is it about them that you enjoy particularly?
I'm not doing the work, I just play with my passion, you know.
And I'd like you to describe a traditional meal in your country. You have 1 minute to take notes.
I think with some extended in that occasion, we can bridging the gap between generation, strengthen relationship among us. You know? And I could say that play an important role in educating younger generation to make them gain more deeper understanding about previous generator and their sacrifice. And you know, many people told me that I'm too old for my generation. Do you know that? Because maybe the gray hair. Oh no, maybe I think it's my thinking.
What foods do you consider are good for you? Why do you think people eat things that are bad for them?
Have many reasons, but one reason I think the first maybe is looks delicious. The second reasons maybe they think it's good for them, but it's not.
In this first part, I'm just going to ask you some general questions. What nationality are you? What part of your country are you from? How often do you use the computer?
I use the computer frequently for different purposes, such as studying, chatting with my friends, searching for data.
Do you like using the internet?
Undoubtedly, I do like, because I think the internet gives me anything I may need for any purpose I may have.
Now I'm going to ask you to talk about a topic for 2 minutes.
Yes.
You have 1 minute to prepare and make some notes. I'd like you to describe a typical day at work, school, or college.
My daily routine is quite complicated with a lot of tasks to do from Monday to Saturday, except Sunday when I can enjoy the whole day by myself. my graduation thesis every morning. Then I take a rest a little bit at noon before going to the law firm. I'm working as an intern in a law firm, not very far from my home. I'm responsible for preparing some documentaries for some simple cases to help the lawyer in my firm. After working, I go to the gym. Yeah, I love this one because I want to keep fit. If there is one thing I could change in my daily routine, I think it's my graduation thesis. Yeah, actually, I want to finish it as soon as possible to pay my full attention to my internship at the law firm.
So now I'm going to ask you some general questions about routines. What are the benefits and drawbacks of having a daily routine?
Well, I think daily routine allow us to work more effectively and less stressfully because we are used to it. It's more important to the people who have a bad memory like me. However, it's reasonable to say that daily routine is quite boring to somebody active and dynamic.
What factors influence most people's daily routines?
Now, in this first part, I'd like to ask you some questions about yourself. Let's talk about free time. What do you like doing in your free time?
In my free time, I will have some coffee with my best friends. I have one best friend and we can share everything. I can talk to her and she can talk to me and we love listening to each other.
If you had more free time, what would you do?
If I have more free time, I would take piano lesson. I love piano and I wish to have a piano at home so I can play anytime I want.
Now I'm going to give you a topic and I'd like you to talk about it for 1 to 2 minutes. Before you talk, you have 1 minute to think about what you're going to say.
Okay.
You can make some notes if you wish. Do you understand? I'd like you to tell me about a recent event in your life that made you happy. Alright, remember you have 1 to 2 minutes for this, so don't worry if I stop you. I'll tell you when the time is up.
Okay. So when I write down in the paper and try to recall all the events and which event make me happy, then I realized that all the events related to Japan make me so happy. And I was so lucky I just went to Japan in June, just last month, to do a TV show. And whenever I go there, I just feel amazing. I just feel so happy. I love everything about Japan. I think I can talk to you about Japan non-stop. But now I will try to go into the point. So I went to Tokushima City and Awaji Island to visit many places. One amazing thing is the solar power plant. Go there and I learned that 20 years ago there was a plant there, but it was destroyed absolutely from the earthquake. And the Japanese just rebuilt the plant in just 1 year.
Thank you. Would you like to go back to Japan?
Yes, sure. In the end of the year, I will go back, and that will be my 10th time to Japan.
We've been talking about something, a recent event in your life that made you happy. I'd like to discuss with you one or two more general questions about this. Let's first talk about happiness.
Okay.
What do you think makes someone happy?
I just make a video about exactly like that. What makes you happy? And I go with some friends and with a camera. We go around in Saigon to interview people about what makes you happy. But we interview mostly with the poor people or people who have to work very hard on the streets. And the answers are very nice. And some they just said, when I can sell a lot of cakes and I'm happy. When I see my children go to school and learn things, I'm happy.
Money. Do you think that money is key to being happy?
Of course, because everybody needs money, because everybody needs food, needs a home to stay. So you can only have money and then you can have those things. But money is not all, because I can see that from me and from people around me. We need more with love and care.
In this first part, I'd like to ask you some questions about yourself. Let's talk about your school days. What do you remember about your first school when you were a child?
I went to this very beautiful elementary school, which is quite near my house.
What ways did life at school change as you became older?
When I got to the secondary school, actually I got into mathematics specialized class. So actually my life got a little bit harder, but it was fine. I could manage that.
What was your favorite subject?
Well, I guess English. I did spend a lot of time studying it since I was 6 years old and still studying it until today. I just love languages. I love foreign languages. I even managed to learn a little bit of French and planning to learn Chinese too. Thank
you. Now I'm going to give you a topic. And I'd like you to talk about it for 1 to 2 minutes. Before you talk, you have 1 minute to think about what you're going to say. You can make some notes if you wish. I'd like you to describe a place that has some kind of special meaning. You have 1 to 2 minutes for this, so don't worry if I stop you. I'll tell you when the time is up. Can you start speaking now, please?
According to my job, as I said before, I have the chance to travel quite often. The more I go and the more countries I visit, I find out that the most important place and also the most meaningful place to me is actually my home. Now, I mean my home is where I was born, not the home that I'm staying in Saigon. To make it more clearly, that is the place where my whole family lives right now. It is a small house right in the center of Hanoi where there are
lots of animals and trees and plants because my parents all love animals. Why I say that it's the most meaningful place is because sometimes when we go travel, sometimes when we go to work, we pursue our success in life. We might forget who we are originally, lose ourselves in some certain ways. By coming back home, we know what root we're from, and we can find our true self, what our true self is. By staying next to our parents, we can feel the true love, because sometimes when you meet people out there, you doubt what is love. Well then, so every time I have such kind of doubts, I would go home, meet my parents, my families, and just to let them tell me that they love me the most, and that is love. So I believe that lots of people would think the same way as I do. She could make the whole adventure, but at the end, what she wants the most is coming back home, because home is where you're from. Home is what you will become, and home is what you will take as the root to contribute to the culture.
So we've been talking about somewhere that is important for you, and I'd like to discuss with you one or two more general questions related to this. So why do people leave home when they're quite young? Normally when people are like 18, right? Mm-hmm. Generally they might leave their home and move to a city. Why do they do that? On this first part, I'd like to ask you some questions about yourself. Let's talk about reading. Do you like reading?
Because I consider a book is like the whole different world. Many years ago, I loved reading novels. I love to read about different stories, different characters, and how they, especially with the characters from other countries. So I can learn a lot from the culture and everything.
How often do you read?
I try to read every day, but now I'm so busy with my work, so I try to bring a book with me so I can read anytime I'm free.
Do you ever read newspapers or magazines?
Yes, I read, but now actually I read mostly online. It's easier and faster for me with a phone.
I'm going to give you a topic.
Okay.
And I'd like you to talk about it for 1 to 2 minutes. Before you talk, you'll have 1 minute to think about what you're going to say. Okay. You can make some notes if you wish. Okay. Do you understand?
Yes.
I'd like you to tell me about a movie you watched, either at home or in a cinema. Okay. So don't worry if I stop you. I'll tell you when the time is up. Okay. Can you start speaking now, please?
One of my favorite movies that I watched at home called Dancer in the Dark. But when she got caught and put into the prison, and she didn't want to use that saving to hire a lawyer to get her out of the prison. And the thing I love of the movie is the director tried to balance the musical, even though it's a tragedy, but he put a lot of songs
So we've been talking about a movie that you like, and I'd now like to discuss a few more general questions with you. Let's continue to talk about movies. Are movies an important part of your life?
Of course, I'm an actress, so I love to watch movies to know about many kind of characters, so I can learn from those characters if I have a similar character in my career. And it's a very good entertainment. When I feel sad, when I feel bored, when I feel lonely, I can just watch a good movie.
What do you think makes a good movie?
A good movie, first, it has a very good story. And that story can give me inspiration. I can find some good lesson from it, or I can feel that I love my life more. I can see so many positive signs in life.
So could you tell me your full name, please?
Oh, my full name is Chen Mai Feng Phoebe.
Thanks. Thanks. And what should I call you?
You can call me Phoebe.
Phoebe, sure.
Yeah.
Phoebe, in this first part, I'd like to ask you some questions about yourself. Let's talk about friends. Are your friends mostly your age or different ages?
My friends are mostly older than me. Mm-hmm. I have friends who are 50 years old, 45 years old, friends in their 50s and 40s and 30s and 20s, and, you know, teenagers. I have them all. They're all my friends. Mm-hmm. And even toddlers are my friends too. Yes.
The last time you saw your friends, what did you do together? In what ways are friends important to you?
Friends are as important as you in this examination. They're very necessary because, number one, they ask me the right questions. Mm-hmm. And it's different in the sense that they will also answer my questions. Mm-hmm. I think basically friends are the pillar of support. Mm-hmm. They keep me in line. They keep me grounded. Mm. I think they also entertain me. Mm. Yeah.
Well, I'm going to give you a topic, and I'd like you to talk about it for 1 to 2 minutes.
Yes.
Before you talk, you'll have 1 minute to think about what you're going to say.
Yes. Can I ask to change the topic?
Unfortunately, no.
Oh yeah,
ielts
right.
Forest.
I'm not allowed to ask you a question.
Yes. So I'd like you to talk about a difficult choice that you had to make and realize later it was the right decision. Remember, you have 1 to 2 minutes for this, so don't worry if I stop you. I'll tell you when the time is up.
Yeah.
Can you start speaking now, please?
So this happened 7 years ago when I was still a college student, and it happened in my a cappella group. And we came to a point in time where we had to make, you know, a critical decision, whether to remain as a 20-something person group or cut people down to about 5 people. Because I was the founder of the group, you know, I had to really make a sound judgment of whether that is a plausible thing to even talk about. And eventually we decided to cut the group down. And then, you know, another problem arose. We went through a lot of discussions. We did a lot of interviews. We did a lot of, you know, prep talks. We did a lot of one-on-ones and heart-to-hearts. And eventually we managed to bring the group down to 10 people. The reason why I thought this was the right decision was because, number one, there are two reasons. Number one, our music was a lot better, and number two, this was the right decision because eventually we still remained friends. So that was my experience of a difficult decision I had to make.
Thank you. Do you often have to make difficult decisions?
I do. I often have to make a lot of difficult decisions at work. The industry that I'm in has a lot of stressful moments. You know, things are unplanned and we have to be very, very flexible to deal with everything that are spontaneous. And so yes, I do have to make a lot of difficult decisions.
Thank you. We've been talking about a difficult choice that you had to make, and I'd like to discuss with you one or two more general questions related to that. Let's consider, first of all, some people think that some people are born decision makers. They have a natural ability to make decisions effectively. Do you think so?
I do not. I do not believe that. I do not believe that habits are innate. I do believe in certain things that are innate. So, for example, the body clock. You know, the natural cycle, when people wake up, when people go to sleep, personalities are quite innate. But I do believe that habits are bred, not born. And I think, you know, decision making or leadership is a skill that can be developed, and it should be developed.
Nowadays, do you think people get enough advice before they make decisions compared to in the past?
When it comes to advice, I feel like, you know, nowadays it's really different from the past. You know, in the past, children and students make decisions based on, you know, their teachers, their mentors, their parents' advice. Nowadays, people are a lot more independent. They want to have their own say in their own decisions. And I think nowadays people take a lot more responsibility and a lot more, I guess, they have a lot more say in their lives. So,
how about in families? Do you think children should be part of the decision-making process in a family, or should that be left to the parents?
I absolutely believe that children should be part of the decision-making process because the family is the collective whole. The growth of the family also includes the growth of the children and also the growth of the parents. And I've read a lot of research that says, you know, the earlier the parents let the children into the decision-making process, the more the children's going to be independent and the healthier the growth, as well as the better bonding between the parent and the child.
Now, in this first part, I'd like to ask you some questions about yourself. Who do you spend the most time texting and why?
With my best friend. We have many things to talk, and I think send text message can help me to have more time to think about what I want to talk to her.
When do you think you'll next send a text message and why?
I'll send a text message to my best friend to